Hello everyone. Today's presentation is on cache memory, one of the most crucial concepts in computer architecture. We will explore how it bridges the speed gap between the CPU and main memory, and why it is fundamental for achieving high performance in modern systems. Memory systems can be classified by their location, capacity, and unit of transfer. Location refers to whether the memory is internal, like cache and registers, or external, such as hard disks. Capacity is typically measured in bytes, and unit of transfer refers to how data is moved. Internally, it's usually the width of the data bus. Access methods determine how the CPU interacts with memory. Common methods include sequential, direct, random, and associative access. Cache memory generally uses associative or set associative methods for fast data retrieval. Performance is directly tied to memory capacity and access speed. The more data we can store closer to the processor, the faster our system performs. However, increasing capacity often means higher costs or slower access, leading to design trade-offs. There are several types of memory including semiconductor memory, magnetic surface memory, and optical memory. Volatile memory loses its data when power is lost, while non-volatile memory retains data. ROM is a non-erasable type used mainly for firmware. To balance cost, speed, and size, computer systems use a memory hierarchy, from fast, small, and expensive registers and cache to large, slow, and cheaper external storage. This layered design allows optimal performance and cost efficiency. We typically use three levels: L1, L2, and main memory. External memory serves as long-term storage. Disk cache uses a portion of main memory as a buffer to improve disk access speeds by reducing the number of read-write operations. Virtual memory allows applications to use logical addresses. The MMU, Memory Management Unit, translates virtual addresses to physical ones, enabling efficient memory utilization and protection. Because cache is smaller than main memory, we need a way to map memory blocks to cache lines. The three common methods are direct mapping, associative mapping, and set associative mapping. In direct mapping, each block maps to exactly one line in the cache. It's simple and fast but suffers from collision problems. The address is split into tag and index parts to identify cache lines. To improve direct mapped cache, a small fully associative victim cache can store recently evicted blocks. This reduces conflict misses and is located between the L1 cache and the next memory level. In associative mapping, a block can be placed in any cache line. This offers greater flexibility and reduces collisions, but it's slower and more expensive to implement since the whole cache must be searched. This method strikes a balance. The cache is divided into sets, and each set has multiple lines. A block maps to a specific set and can occupy any line within it. For example, two-way set associative means two lines per set. Here, address division becomes a bit more complex. The number of sets, lines per set, and tag size all vary depending on cache size and organization. This method provides a good trade-off between speed and complexity. Once the cache has been filled, when a new block is brought into the cache, one of the existing blocks must be replaced. For direct mapping, there is only one possible line for any particular block, and no choice is possible. Three common strategies are LRU, least recently used, replaces the block not accessed for the longest time; FIFO, first in first out, replaces the oldest block; LFU, least frequently used, replaces the least accessed block. Each has trade-offs between complexity and performance.
Write policy determines how data written to the cache is updated in main memory. We have two main strategies, write through and write back, each with different implications for performance and complexity. In write-through, every write updates both the cache and main memory. It's simple but causes more memory traffic. In write-back, writes update only the cache, and the memory is updated only when the cache block is replaced. This reduces traffic but adds complexity. Line size refers to the amount of data transferred between cache and memory. Larger lines improve spatial locality but can increase miss penalty if unused data is transferred. The choice of line size is a critical design parameter. With advances in chip density, CPUs now have multiple cache levels. L1 is on-chip and very fast, while L2 and L3 are larger and may be off-chip. Multi-level caches reduce access time and bus usage, improving overall performance.
Once the cache has been filled, when a new block is brought into the cache, one of the existing blocks must be replaced. For direct mapping, there is only one possible line for any particular block, and no choice is possible.
To conclude, we've covered memory system characteristics, the concept and role of cache memory, mapping and replacement strategies, write policies and multi-level cache design. Understanding cache memory is key to designing efficient computing systems.